And as Mr. Neely said, David is the first person to graduate from Cypress Bay High School in 2004. In August of 2004, David moved to Washington to attend the Elliott School of International Affairs at George Washington University. During that time, he interned for several congressional and Senate members. David currently lives in Washington, D.C. and serves as a senior visitor's officer in the Office of the Chief of Protocol at the United States Department of State. David has worked under 3 presidential administrations, supporting the offices of the President, First Lady, Vice President, and Secretary of State. He has traveled to more than 50 countries and has worked with countless world leaders. It is my pleasure and honor to introduce you to 2004 graduate, Mr. David Solomon.
Good afternoon and congratulations, Cypress Bay class of 2017. Woo! I'm honored and humbled to stand before you today. I would first like to thank Mr. Neely and Mr. Nelson for that incredible introduction and my invitation to return today for this opportunity. Mr. Neely and Mr. Nelson were my principals when I was in the Bay, and their loyal dedication to this school is a true testament of leadership. I would also like to thank and extend my appreciation to my parents and family and friends who came out to support me today, as well as all members of the Cypress Bay administration, faculty, and staff, past and present, who have made countless sacrifices to get all of our graduates here today. I believe that success is not only the final outcome, but how you use the opportunity in every situation to achieve your goal, through your own potential. 13 years ago, I sat exactly where you are, in the same cap and gown, going through the same ceremony, ready to go off and take on the world. Since then, all of my collective time in high school and college, spending countless hours fundraising and volunteering, seeking internships and making connections, has prepared me for the opportunity I have now to travel the world as a diplomat for the United States government. I was not asked to speak to you today because I am a celebrity or a politician connected to a well-known family. Like Mr. Neely and Mr. Nelson said, I believe I am here today as a reflection of you, a Cypress Bay graduate, a view into your future. If you work hard, take action on your ideas and opportunities, be persistent, and discover what makes you successful. It's been an incredible journey for me in such a short time, and I am privileged to share some of my story with you. In 6th grade, I remember hearing an 8th grader talk to his friends about his plans to run for student council. After seeing how supportive his friends were of the idea, I set my sights on being elected the homeroom representative for my class, so I too could be involved in the organization. I practiced my speech over and over again before reading aloud to the class on election day. And once the votes were cast and all the results were in, I was quite disappointed to learn that I didn't win. My teacher, Ms. Holland, saw how frustrated I was and pulled me aside to encourage me not to give up and to try again for the next time. I put that advice to use and I ran for 6th grade president later that year, and again I did not win. I ran for a few other offices in 9th and 10th grade, all with the same outcome. The repeated feeling of rejection is difficult and really made me question my goals. After the 3rd and 4th try, you would have thought that I would have given up and moved on to something else, but with each loss, it just made me more determined. Looking back, the most important thing I did after each election was not give up. I was, of course, disappointed, and I remained an active member of the organization, so I could still be part of a cause that was greater than just myself. Even without the official title, I supported the elected officers, taking the lead, organizing events and fundraisers, and getting other students involved throughout the year. My dedication finally paid off when I started my junior year at Cypress Bay. My classmates and I from the graduation class of 2004 were among the first students at the debate, and I was determined to help make its history. So I went forward and ran for student government president, and that time I finally won. It was an amazing feeling.
Woo!
It was an amazing feeling to be recognized by my peers, and for the next 2 years, I worked hard to set the bar high for future presidents. As a student government president, I was invited to attend the Global Youth Leadership Conference in Washington, D.C. I spent 2 weeks there learning about democracy and diplomacy along with students from all over the world. I was inspired by my peers, and it was from that conference that I decided to apply to schools in Washington and study international affairs. My new goal was to work for a U.S. embassy overseas. As soon as I arrived in Washington, I started my first year at the George Washington University and put my plan of becoming a diplomat right into action. I spent 4 intense years, countless coursework studying international affairs, interning on Capitol Hill and for the Peace Corps, took multiple test prep courses to prepare myself for the competitive Foreign Service exam. Passing this test is required to be a Foreign Service officer. I took the test, and first time around, I did not pass. Or the second time, and I was pretty frustrated. I began to have similar feelings of doubt that I did after losing each student council election back in middle school and high school. I questioned whether or not I had what it took to be able to achieve my goals. I thought long and hard about it, and then went to speak with an advisor who suggested that I take a different approach. After she listed some options of other offices in the State Department, the protocol office sounded pretty interesting, and I could still apply some of the same skills and interests as an embassy official, but in a different setting. I was quite skeptical because that wasn't my original plan, but I'm truly grateful for the advice which opened my eyes to other opportunities I hadn't previously considered. After being accepted as an intern in the Office of the Chief of Protocol of the Department of State, I was eventually hired full-time and worked my way up to a senior position as a business officer. The job of a protocol officer is completely behind the scenes. It combines diplomacy, logistics, and high-level negotiations between the United States and foreign governments. Every single time you see the president or vice president or high-level U.S. official participating in an international event with other world leaders on TV, it's actually the work of a team of people who have negotiated countless details ahead of time so it's perfectly coordinated for public view. As I was preparing for this speech, it struck me that much of my work in high school, serving as a liaison between the students and the administration, adapting to situations to meet the needs of many different groups of people, and planning logistics for events is very similar to the work that I do now. As a protocol officer, I am constantly challenged with a range of issues and must always be prepared to act in any situation. For example, in 2012, I was responsible for coordinating the motorcades of 25 world leaders attending a major international conference hosted by the president in Hawaii. The motorcade arrivals and departures of these events are always very stressful, with multiple layers of security issues and logistical concerns. It was the end of the night on the first day of the summit, and as the evening was drawing to a close, there was a major power failure. All of our radios and communications equipment went dead. In front of me were hundreds of black cars, all waiting for my cue to pull up at exactly the right moment. Thinking on my feet, I reorganized my team between the parking lot and the departure area to ensure that we were still able to communicate, even without the use of radios. Fortunately, the guests never knew that there was a problem, and in my profession, that's exactly how it's supposed to be. You encounter a challenge, and you act. You come across an obstacle, and you resolve it without anyone knowing that it was a challenge to begin with at all. Yes, it is absolutely exciting flying around on Air Force One, visiting foreign countries and interacting with dignitaries that most people will only see on the nightly news. But it's not always glamorous work. I often find myself negotiating the right colored tablecloth to use for an event with a foreign government, tidying up a bathroom before we start, carrying other people's luggage, selecting menus for a meeting, or standing on the airport tarmac in the middle of winter, ready to receive a delegation at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I think, really? I went to college for this? But in the end, I know that it's all part of history. I am fortunate to play even a small part of it. I am continuously in awe every time I walk through the gates of the White House, and so proud that I continue to push myself to the point in my career. Graduates, I wish for each of you opportunities to regularly be awed, inspired, and to be proud of yourselves. Today is one of those days. As you get ready to receive your diploma, let me leave you with 3 pieces of advice that really helped me get to where I am. First, see your thoughts through to action. You can only begin to imagine the opportunities that will be presented to you in the coming years. Nothing will happen unless you take the first step. Do not waste your good ideas by only letting them exist in your mind. Think of idea as the flame at the end of a matchstick. Striking the match is only the first step. You have to act. You have to set fire. My idea was to be a diplomat, so I earned a degree. I explored my options through trial and error. I sought opportunities to hone my skills, and ultimately I secured a job that had only once been an idea. Find a role that is rewarding, exciting, and relevant to you and go for it. Strike your match and set fire. Second, you have to be persistent and keep showing up. I lost 5 student government elections before I won my first. You have to be persistent. I knew that even after my internship ended in protocol, I wanted to return someday, so I kept in touch with my coworkers, volunteered at events even after my internship had ended, and when the opportunity came for a full-time position, I was there to claim it. Keep showing up, make a good impression, and always be known for being reliable. Lastly, it is up to you to create success. As I look into the sea of cap and gowns, I'm reminded of my friends who I graduated with 13 years ago, now scientists, teachers, authors, politicians, doctors, lawyers, mothers, and fathers. Each of their journeys has been so different as we parted our separate ways. Your success, where you are headed to work tomorrow, or where you're heading to college in September, is all a direct reflection of you. Look in the mirror. That is your secret to success. You. You determine what opportunities you take, what questions you ask, what you make of your failures and achievements. It is up to you to create your own success. In closing, remember that every single day is an opportunity to learn and grow in your pursuit to become the man or woman that you want to be. Take advantage of the good ideas in your head. Keep showing up. Go for your goals. And remember that you are a proud member of the 2017 graduating class of Cypress High School. Thank you, congratulations, and